Back to my YouTube channel Shloka Tech, and in today's video I am going to tell you how to add Google sign in your React app. And for adding Google sign in we have to use Firebase, so we will also be using Firebase. So without further ado, let's get started. First, I will open the terminal and I will go to my desktop. Now, if you wonder what I am using for terminal, I am using OMyJSS. If you want, you can download it, and the link of OMyJSS also will be given in the description below. So here, first, let's say npx create React app, and then name of the React app. So I want to create Google Authentication. So after typing this command, this will start creating this app. And if you are using yarn instead of npx, you can type yarn or directly create React app Google Authentication. So this will take a while. So till the time this is happening, let us set up Firebase for our app. So here first what I'm going to do is go to console.firebase or google.com. If you have not signed in to Google, then you can simply first go to firebase or google.com, and here you can sign in and then click on go to console. So this is the direct console, and here I will click on add project, and then the name is Google Authentication. So after this I will click on continue, and it's your wish you want to enable this Google Analytics. And then the account is the default account for Firebase, and then we start creating our project. And here also this is happening. So now let it happen. So it is finishing up, so we will also set up our app here. And now it is done, so I will click on continue. So then it will redirect me to my project, and here I can click on this web icon. Then the name I will again give Google Authentication, also set up Firebase hosting and register app. Then you get this option of, let me load. You get this option of copy and paste description to the bottom. This is for index.html file. If you are using like that, you don't need this. And now this is a very important one, so let me copy this, and it is installing. It has not installed till now. So inside this I will create a new document, save it in my desktop, let's say important, and I will paste this important one. And here we have to add sudo because I am using macOS. If you are using, let's say, Linux, any Debian version, Linux version, or OS X, then you have to add it. If you are using Windows, then you don't need to add sudo. Simply npm will work for you. So here now I will click on next, and if you are deploying, then you can see this material. So after this I will go to project settings, and then I will go to config, and this is also very important, so I'm going to copy this here and paste this here. I don't want this comment because these are important ones, so I'm pasting it here. So now this has also been done, so I will cd you to my Google Authentication, and here first let me run sudo npmi. It will install Firebase tools, then password because it's a root permission, and so it has also installed. So I am going to open this Google Authentication here, and here inside source I am going to make a new file and call it firebase.js. I am going to cut it from here, paste it from here. I cut here. Let's do. Now I don't want this text editor. So now it has also installed that. So now you have to do here npm I Firebase, this is also very important. These both are different, so make sure to check that out. And then we have done this. Now what I will do is go to authentication and then click on setup sign in method. Now I am in this video I am telling you how to do with Google. Then the same process will be of any one of them which are available, like email password, Facebook, Twitter. Email password is little different and phone also. And then Google plugins and all, they are simply very easy to do. And if you have to add multiple, then I will tell you in the video how to do that also. So it is installing Firebase here. So let me click on Google, enable. Here select your email address and click on save. This will enable the sign in method. And this has also installed, so I now don't want this. So now install. Here I am going to say npm start. So let it start the development server. Let's wait for it to compile the code. So now you can see we have got this spinning React logo and it says edit app.js and then save to reload it. Okay, so now first what I am going to do is install material UI core. I don't want icons, I only want the core version because we are not going to focus on the front end anymore. So now till the time it is installing, let it install. What I am going to do is delete the test files. So app.test.js, setup.test.js, logo.svg. And now this will give us an error because here imported many things. So now I am going to delete this import. Now I want to import React from React. And then header, I am going to delete everything here and change the capital A to small a. And it has also installed, yes. And now what I am going to do is go to app.css, delete everything. Inside index.css, add the universal operator and say margin of 0. So now after doing this we will get this black screen. So now first we have to do is inside SASE make a new file and call it stateprovider.js. Inside this what I am going to do is say RFC. These are the snippets which help to give this nice code. So for this I am using this extension called ES7 React Redux Graphical React Native Snippets. Inside this what I am going to do is where it imports React, I want create context, use context, and finally I also want use reducer. Then I am going to say export const state context and it is equal to create context, and here I don't want this one. And here I am going to say export const state provider and this will be like this. Here it will take the reducer, the initial state and the children, and then here I am going to add this arrow function and inside this arrow function I am going to say state context. So here state context dot provider. I am going to close this like this and here I want the children. And inside this I want to add the value and inside the value what I will say is use reducer, which I have imported already. And what I want to use, I want to use the reducer and the initial state. And then after this I will remove the default, and here I am going to say export const and then use state value, which will be a arrow function. And what will this do is say use context of state context. So this is enough code which we wanted here. And now what I am going to do is make another file and call it reducer.js. Inside this I am going to say export const initial state is equal to, and this will only say user is equal to null. Then I am going to add a comment saying selector. This will say export const action types. So let's say action types, and this will be object saying set user to set user. Then I am going to say const reducer is equal to state, and this will also say action, and then this will be a arrow function. Inside this first I am going to say console.log action, then I am going to add this switch, and this will say action type. And first I am going to add a case of action type dot set user. This will return this state, and then I am going to say user is equal to action dot user, and then here I am going to say default, and this will say return state. And now after adding this I am going to simply say export default, and I want to export the default value of the reducer. So after doing this, what I am going to do is go to the index.js file, and inside index.js what I am going to do is here I want to import state provider from the state provider. Then I want to import the reducer. I am not adding in the module format because it is a default value. And here I want to import the initial state of the user from the reducer. And I also no, sorry, I don't want anything now. And here what I am going to do is say state provider. I will wrap the app inside the state provider. And now I here wanted, you can see the state provider, I have wanted the reducer initial state, I have wanted these both. So what I am going to say is that the initial state is equal to the initial state, the reducer is equal to reducer, and this much code is enough for the index.js. Now I am going to go to the firebase.js file. First I am going to say import Firebase from Firebase, which we have installed already. Then I am going to do const Firebase app, and this is equal to Firebase dot initialize app, and the data is in the Firebase config here. Then I'm going to say const auth is equal to Firebase dot. Then I'm going to say const provider is equal to, and I will now say new Firebase dot auth dot Google Auth provider. So let's say Google Auth provider. And now I want to export. I'm not exporting default. I'm going to export auth and provider from this file. So now after this file, I'm going to go to the app.js. And inside this, the only thing I have to do is I'm going to say import use state value from the state provider. And now if I, let's say, make a const saying like this, user and dispatch, it will say use state value. So, and now if I add these two lines of code in any file, I will be able to access the user. So now let me show you one thing. Let me say if user is not there, then I want to say h1 say login, and then if the user is say, it will say h1 saying home. And now let me show you, right now it is not there, so it is showing login. And if I remove these two lines, and now it will say user is notified. So that's why it is important to add these two lines everywhere. So now I don't want to show login here. I am going to say I want to show a login component here. So I'm going to say import login from login. Then inside source, I'm going to make a new file and call it the login.js. Now add the basic snippets here. I want to import the auth and the provider because here the login stuff will be there. And that I will import from our local Firebase using the Firebase file. Then I am going to import this. You can see this one here. This I also want the button from the material UI core, and I finally want the action types from the reducer. So let's say from the reducer, and that's it. Then what I want to do is I will copy this line here, and this line, and here the only thing I have to do different is change this to state because I don't want the user here. And then here I'm only going to add a material UI button which will say sign in. And now here inside this I want to give it a type of submit, and I also want to only say that when I click on this, then what I want to do, and so I will make this function sign in here. So let's say const sign in is equal to arrow function, and it will say auth, and here I want to add dot, so I have to add after it dot. So I'm going to say sign in with pop-up, and now inside this brackets I have to pass on the provider, because if I go to the firebase.js, you can see here I said that the provider is equal to Google Auth provider. And now let's say if I want to add a GitHub login also, so I can change this provider names to Google provider, and here I can add one more, say that this is the GitHub provider, and I can change it to GitHub provider, and you can search for Google for more information. So you can add different buttons like this. So here the Google, here I want to log in with the Google provider. So that's why I'm going to say provider. If you want to log in with GitHub or any other, then you can do. And now make sure you don't have this here because we want to add more of the dots here. So now after this I want to say dot then. When I get the result here, when I get the result from there, what I want to do is again arrow function, and here I am going to say dispatch, and I want to dispatch a object. Inside this object I am going to say that the type is action types dot set user, and the user, it is a result that we got, so not the result, the result dot user. So now it is fine, and now after that I can add it here but not here. Now I can say if the step is not successful and we got an error, so what I want to do is do a alert, and what the alert will say, error will have the error dot message. And after this, if I reload this and now click on sign in, so you will notice that it redirects me to the Google sign in page. So you did it with a pop-up. So here let's say I log in with my this account, and now it will say the home page. Now I don't want to render only the home, I want to render a home component here. So I can make this component here, and I don't want the login.js right now. Let's say home.js rfce. I want the avatar from the material and material UI code, and I want this here. So now I can add simply this one line of two lines of, but I also want this. I can simply add this anywhere and access this. So I want to give it a class name of home. Here I want to show a avatar, and if it does not have a source, have I imported home? No. Okay, import home from home. So now home is not defined. Oh, sorry. Now it's fine. So now if I click on sign in, then it redirects me to the Google, and now then it here when I go here, it is only showing the avatar, but I don't want to show the avatar only. I also want to show the actual picture of the profile. So if there is no, then it will show the avatar. So for that I am going to give it a source, and it will be the user. So user dot, and from the Google we get one something called as the profile URL, and now if I save and go here, you can see I get this profile picture. And now I can simply say h1, and this will say welcome, and only not welcome, I also want to display the name. So I will say user dot display name, and now if I go here welcome, then my name is Shloka Tech. So this is working, and if I go to user, then it shows me the user logged in. So I hope you like this method, and if you want me to make a video on which we set up multiple sign-in methods, then I will 100% make it. If you want me to make it, then make sure to comment that in the video. If this video was helpful to you to enable Google and let Google authentication in your React app, then make sure to like our video, subscribe our channel, and share this with the family and friends. So thanks for watching.